Hey everybody, how you doing? Jeff here, back with another Diablo 2 Resurrected video, and I've been getting some questions from newer players about parts of the game, so I put one up a few days ago regarding weapons or gear in general, how to choose, how to find what's right for your character, what you're trying to do. So if that interests you, be sure to check that one out. But this one is going to be all about the Horadric Cube. So the cube you get in Act 2 in the main story, it's mandatory, you have to pick it up. You use it to combine some items to make a Horadric staff to progress the quest in Act 2. Then you use it in Act 3. Same thing, you combine some items, you make Kalim's Will to progress the quest there. But there are many, many other uses for the cube after that. Lots of recipes, and so this video is going to cover hopefully some of the more useful things that you can do with your cube. And I'm going to cover several different recipes and things you can do with the cube in this. So I will include timestamps in the description. If you wanted to jump around to certain recipes to check those out, be sure to do that. And let's get into it here. All right, so the first one here, real basic one, is upgrading gems. So if you have 3 gems of the same type and quality, you can combine those in the cube to upgrade them to the next highest quality. So if you have 3 chipped rubies, you could combine those and make 1 flawed ruby. Or here I've got 3 flawless amethysts. I can combine those to create a perfect amethyst. So, and one thing I will say is that gems can be very valuable. Even if you don't want to use them for your own recipes, you can trade these and get some pretty decent wealth from them, items or runes or whatever. I usually carry around a flawless amethyst with me though, because you can actually upgrade those if you go to a shrine in the world. If you find a gem shrine, in case you don't know this, if you have no gems in your inventory and you touch a gem shrine, it will give you a random chipped gem. However, if you have a gem in your inventory and you touch a gem shrine, it will upgrade it to the next highest level. So I commonly carry a flawless amethyst with me and make sure that's the only in my inventory. If I touch a gem shrine, it will upgrade this immediately to a perfect amethyst. And that's important for a recipe we're going to talk about later. The amethysts are the most valuable because of a certain crafting recipe, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Next, let's check out some runes. They have a similar mechanic starting out as the gems do, so you can combine 3 lower runes to create the next higher tier of it. So if we grab some Ral runes here, we put 3 Rals in. They are the level 19 rune. We can combine it. It's going to make us an Ort, which is 21. Then we can combine 3 Orts to give us the next one, which is a Thul, 23. So I'm going to combine 3 more Orts here to give me another Thul. Now this is the breakpoint for the first change. Anything Ort and below works that way. 3 Thuls does not work. At this point you start needing gems. So if I wanted to upgrade these Thul runes, I would actually need to also add a chipped topaz. So then 3 Thuls plus the chipped topaz would turn into an Am rune. And as you move up the list of runes, you need these different chipped gems, and then flawed gems, and then normal and flawless as you reach all the way up into the highest runes, if you wanted to combine those. The other big change is once you get into mid runes, specifically a pole rune, you only need 2 runes at that point rather than 3 to upgrade to the next highest level. But I don't really recommend combining them once you get into the mid runes like Lem, Pole, and then further on up. I just don't think it's worth it. I think it's easier just to trade for specific runes you might be looking for. Next, let's talk about adding sockets to items. So one way to add sockets is to do the first quest in Act 5, where you go out and you kill Shank for Larzuk. You come back, he gives you a reward that he will add sockets to an item. You can stick a white item in there to add sockets. This will give max sockets. So if the item can have 4 sockets as its maximum amount, it will give 4 sockets. But let's say you don't want that. Let's say you maybe only want 3 sockets. Let's check out an example for that. Let's say I want to make a rune word in a armor. If I give this Kraken shell to Larzuk, he's going to put 4 sockets into it for sure. But maybe I don't want that. If I want to have a chance at 3 anyway, now this could roll 1, 2, 3, or 4 sockets still in this cube recipe. So this is it. You put your armor in there. And for an armor, it's Tal, Thul, and Perfect Topaz. And it's a different recipe if you're trying to do a weapon, a helm, or a shield. But this is what it is for armor. We can roll it, and we got 3 sockets. Maybe we want to have a 3-socket rune word in there. The other reason you might not want to do Larzuk is his quest is the only way that you can get sockets into unique items and set items. For instance, this helmet I have, this G-Face set helmet on. I can actually get a socket. And the way I did this is by putting this in Larzuk's socket quest reward. It will only put one socket in, but that allows you to put whatever jewel, rune, gem in you want. Next, let's look at a quick way to remove items from sockets. So say I've got an armor here, and this might happen. Sometimes I've done this moving things around in the stash. I'm reorganizing my stash here, and oops, oh shoot, instead of putting it in this spot, I accidentally socketed it into an item, and I don't want it there. Moving things around. Oops, so now I've got this armor that's got random stuff in it. I really want the armor or the weapon, whatever it is, to use for like a rune word, but it's ruins now. Or maybe I had a lower level rune word and now I want to put this other thing in it. So a way to do that is you put the item in, whether it's a weapon or armor or whatever, and a hell rune and a scroll of town portal. Combine it, and now it's clean. It removes all the stuff. As a word of warning, you cannot get those items back. The runes, the gems, the jewels. Once you socket those, they're gone forever. They're in that item. There's no way to recover them. But if you want the base item back, like this armor, at least you can recover that. Next, let's check out a way to repair armor. So you could go to a blacksmith here and hit repair. So let's see, I want to repair my armor here. It's going to cost me 81,000 gold. And if you look, I'm only missing 3 durability. It's at 57 out of 60. Now, this is a high level rune word, fortitude. It's in a superior Archon plate, and the superior makes it cost more too. If I let this go for a while and I'm missing like 50 durability, this is going to be like over 1,000,000 gold to repair this. And that can get pretty expensive on some stuff. So weapons and armor. So a different way to do that is with your cube. You can throw in an armor that you want to repair, toss it in here, and the armor goes along with a rowel, and that's it. Open this up. You can click it. Now this is fully repaired, 60 out of 60. Weapon is the same way, but you use a rowel. This next recipe deals with upgrading unique items and set items. Now, set items were just added recently in 2.4 patch, and that's currently ladder only. Unique items have always been in the game where you can upgrade them. And if you didn't know, there are 3 tiers of quality for items. There are normal items, exceptional items, and elite items. So there's a recipe to go from a normal item to an exceptional item, and there's a different recipe to go from exceptional to elite. And it's different whether it's a weapon or an armor. So let's look at an example here. I've got Titan's Revenge here on my Javazon. This is an exceptional item, mid-tier. So the recipe for that is Perfect Emerald, Lum Rune, Pole Rune. So I'll put my Titans in with those items. So this will turn it into an elite item. Now, to be clear, this is always going to be Titan's Revenge. It will now change from a ceremonial javelin to a matriarchal javelin. That won't change like the unique item itself. It's still going to be Titan's Revenge, but it will change its damage and it will change its requirements too as a warning. Sometimes it's not worth upgrading items because your requirements will go crazy high. You'll get a ton more strength required or dexterity and maybe only a little damage or a little defense. So let's check this out. Right now we've got 206 damage top end for the throw damage, and it takes 109 dexterity and 25 strength. We upgrade it, so now it's still Titan's Revenge. It's now a matriarchal javelin. Now the throw damage, it was what 77 to 206. Now it's 126 to 240. But look at the requirements. Now it's 151 dex and 107 strength. So just something to consider before you upgrade items, whether it's going to be worth the trade-off. And now let's check out some crafting recipes where you can actually make some items that are useful. Now there's tons of recipes out there. If you're looking for a specific gear slot or specific affixes and suffixes on weapons, you can look up those recipes. I'll give a couple examples of some that I've found useful. So one is an amulet, especially starting out. If I'm looking for resistances, you can make a prismatic amulet. You just go 1 gem of each type, perfect, and any random blue amulet transmute, and it will give you resist all of 16 to 20, and it has a chance for an extra attribute on it as well. Let's check out another recipe here. This one's going to be for some blood gloves that I've used on melee characters. So a lot of these crafting recipes are similar. It's going to take just a random junk jewel, some type of perfect gem, a specific rune and then a specific piece of gear. So it's easier just to look these up and see what you want. So this blood recipe guarantees some lifesteal. The gloves version guarantees some crushing blow. So let's roll it here and see what we get. We've got, oh, it's got dual leech even. So it rolled a 2% life steal. It also rolled 3% mana steal. It's got that crushing blow on it. Okay. So you're going to have to check out those recipes if you want a certain type of gear. Another recipe that's really popular here is the caster amulet. So it's similar. You just have a random junk jewel. This one takes a perfect amethyst and a Rao rune. This is the reason that you'll see people sometimes trading really good items or runes to get a whole bunch of perfect amethysts or Raos because they craft these caster amulets like crazy, trying to get an amazing one, and then just a random amulet. Transmute it, and it rolls castrate on it for sure. So it can get really high values of castrate, and you're hoping for other good mods, resistances, stats, and whatnot. So that's why people go for amethyst a lot, and that's what makes those very valuable. Another recipe that could be helpful is get a Respec token. So if you do the first quests in the game, Akara gives you the ability to reset your stats and skill points. So you can do that once per each difficulty. So you get 3 free respecs, once for normal, once for nightmare, once for hell. If you run out of those and you want to respec a character again, you can actually do that. So these essences drop from bosses. So there are green essences of destruction, which drop from Baal. There's red ones, which are terror. They drop from Diablo, and it's just random, of course. The blue ones drop from either Endariel or Duriel, and there's a yellow one that drops from Mephisto. So you just put each of those four, one of each, yellow, blue, red, and green, in the cube. You transmute it, and it will create this token of absolution, which is to reset your skills and stats. Another fun recipe is for the not so secret cow level. So you go to the stony field and to the cairn stones where like you save Cain in the this quest here to save Cain. You'll fight Griswold. You'll go through Tristram. Over here on the left side is Wirt's body. He'll drop Wirt's leg, and then you transmute that in your cube with a Book of Town Portal. So we'll throw the leg in. We'll throw a book. We can just buy that from the merchant, transmute, secret cow level. Come in here, kill some cows. Now, I will say that you can join the cow level. If you're in normal difficulty and somebody else makes the cow level, you can join it. Nightmare, you can join it. To be able to make the cow levels, you have to have beaten that difficulty. So if you want to make a normal cow game, you have to have killed Baal on normal. If you want to make Nightmare, you have to kill Baal on Nightmare, and Hell, you have to kill Baal on Hell in order to be able to actually make the levels. Cows are awesome, packed full of enemies, get tons of drops and items in here. And then the final recipe I'll mention here, I'm going to give kind of a spoiler warning. I know the game has been out for 20 years, so if you can consider it a spoiler. Anyway, a lot of new players have joined in, so if you want to turn the video off now, you can. I'm going to talk about just how to do this endgame activity and what you can get from it. So if you'd like to, turn the video off now so you don't get that spoiled. I'm not going to actually show the fights and whatnot leading up to it. That way that can be kind of a surprise if you want. Anyway, here's what you do. For this activity, it's got to be hell difficulty, and it deals with collecting these keys. So this key of terror you collect from Act 1, the Countess, in hell difficulty. The key of hate comes from the Summoner in Act 2, and the key of destruction comes from Nilithek in Act 5. You got to collect each of these three keys, and you can transmute them. You just stand here in Act 5 in town. When you transmute it in the cube, it's going to open a random portal, and there are 3 portals possible. So it's recommended that you actually collect 3 of each key: 3 terror, 3 hate, 3 destruction, and you open them all in the same game. That way you're guaranteed one of each of the portals, because you need to go in and kill a boss in each and collect an item from those bosses. You take those 3 items and transmute those in the cube together, and it's going to open a final portal. And these are all very difficult areas. They're highest level areas in the game, very difficult bosses. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be geared up, or at least have a friend who knows what's going on. If you can beat that final area, they will drop a unique large charm called the Hellfire Torch. And it's super powerful. Everybody wants one. It only takes up 2 slots in the inventory, and it gives great bonuses. So it's going to give +3 to a class's skill level. So this gives 2 assassin skill levels. Then it gives 10 to 20 attributes and 10 to 20 resistances. It's totally random between those. Um, So anyway, that's how you do that. And that's going to do it for the video, actually. So if you guys had any questions, please ask. If you had some recipes that you like to use, throw them in the comments and help other people out. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.